welcome to your weekly dose of K-culture. I'm your host Alexi. End of year is coming, and that means Christmas coming and New Year is coming. A lot of great events are coming, but the biggest event in Korea right now would have to be Suneung, which is a university entrance exam. And it's a very important day for Koreans because, like I've said before, going to university is very important. So what I wanted to do was explain a bit about what Suneung is and how it's different from your typical New Zealand NCEA or Cambridge system, and also funny stories or interesting stories related to that. So compared to New Zealand exam, unlike New Zealand exam where you're performed individually, so for example, depending on your performance, you get marked from let's say I did NCA, so you get marks from excellence, merits, achieved and not achieved. So depending on how well you did or not so well, you will get marked upon that. But Suneung is a little bit different where you get compared to all the others that set the test. So even if you pass the exam, you still get categorized into ranks. So I did some bit of a research. I had to do it myself because I never really experienced Suneung in my entire life. So I had to ask my friends, family, my parents, and did some internet online search so that I give you the right information. So there are rankings from 1 to 9, and depending on what percentage of between the your competitions and all the other students you are, like top or bottom certain percent, you get ranked into those groups. So for example, if your mark is top 4% of every student who set the exam that year, then you will be ranked number 1. And if you're ranked in number 1, you actually get to go to one of those top universities, which is often the top choices for universities. So as I've said, going to a good university is very important because if you see your friends or if you meet relatives, they always ask, oh, how is your study going? Or what kind of university do you want to get into? What do you want to study? Or even if you graduate from university, they ask you, oh, did you find a job? Where are you working? So you can tell how important education is for Korean people. Therefore, this day, Suneung is very important as well. So just to tell you a bit about top universities, there are always 3 universities that are ranked in top 3 categories, and number 1 never changes. That university always stays in top ranking, but there are always 2 universities who are fighting for 2nd and 3rd place. And so one of them is Korea University, which is also known as Korea University, and then another one is Yonsei University. So there's a lot of competition between these 2 schools, and there are a lot of events and sports competition between those 2 schools as well. So one of the biggest sporting event that they have annually, depending on which university you're from, the name will be different. So for example, if you're from Korea University, the competition will be called Koyeonjae. So Ko is from Goryeo, which is Korea University, and Yeon from Yonsei University. But if you're from Yonsei University, the competition will be called Yeonggojae. So depending on if you talk to somebody regarding this sporting event, and they say they're from one of the top university, by listening to how they call the competition, you'll be able to know if they're from Korea University or Yonsei University. And the top ranking for the university is Seoul National University, also known as SNU. So those top 3 universities have a special name, which is SKY. So if the name for that, like origin for the name, is S from Seoul National University, K from Korean University, and Y from Yonsei University. So that makes up SKY. So if you talk to a lot of students in Korea, especially high school students, if you ask them which university do you want to go to, they will often say, oh, I want to go to SKY, and you automatically know they're aiming for the best university in Korea. So Sunnah is therefore very, very important and very special day, and there are certain rules and certain conditions for that day. So they do put a lot of importance to students who are sitting the test. So for example, during the English listening test time, there is no flights flying around the school, or actually I think about 10,000 feet above the ground, there cannot be any flight passing that school zone. And a lot of primary school students and uni students, and also people working, they will start their day 1 hour later, so that there is no traffic jam, or there is no unnecessary sound or noise for students who are sitting the test. So I think there was a special mission for, I think they're the police officers and guards working around the school area. Their special mission on the day is to make sure none of the students are lost, because often the tests are done in a different school to the one that they normally attend. So they make sure none of the students are lost, and if any students are late to the exam or lost, their mission is to have them on the back of their bike and get them to the destination. So you can see number one priority on the day are the students and making sure they get the best mark they could get. And middle school students and high school students, so all of the years from the middle school students and the first and the second year of the high school students, they will have a day off, and often they will spend that day going to around the school where exams are being held, and make sure they are giving their full support to their seniors who are 선배. And so they will often have placards saying cheer up or good luck or something like that, or they often would give out warm drinks to their seniors so that they will actually get to relax. But because there are a lot of pressures to do well, they have to, of course, they have to study very, very well for the subjects, and there are often a lot of subjects that are being tested on. I just wanted to explain a bit about those subjects. So depending on hours, and they will have the list of subjects they will be tested on. And firstly, it is Korean language, and they will have about 45 questions, and then it's about 1 hour and 1 hour and 20 minutes, and there will be 100 mark will be the full mark. Secondly, they have math, and I heard that you can choose either statistics or calculus, just like how it is in New Zealand. And you have about 1 hour and 40 minutes, because obviously doing all the equations do take longer time, and it's 100 marks as well. And thirdly, you have English exam, and that's where you have listening tests as well, and it's about 1 hour and 10 minutes duration, and it's also 100 marks. And fourth exam is history. So you have Korean history, and then you are choosing one out of 3 other subjects, which is social science, science, or work-related subjects. So you have to do Korean history, which is compulsory, and you have to choose another topic out of social science, science, or work-related subject. So each of the exam category is 50 marks, and you have about 1 hour and 42 minutes altogether. So again, Korean history is very important to Korean students, so it's a must subject, and you really need to be able to answer what it is to be Korean and what history we have gone through. And last exam category is second language, and they are it is 50 marks, and you have about 40 minutes, and you can choose from German, French, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Russian, Arab, Vietnamese, and Chinese. So Chinese characters more specifically. So a lot of high school, they do teach second language apart from English. So as well as learning English, you can actually learn third language, and you'll be tested on that. So your school might be teaching Spanish, your school might be teaching German, and depending on that, you'll be tested on that. So there are a lot of subjects to study for, which is quite different from New Zealand system, because in New Zealand you choose the subject that you want to study, which is different case for Korea. And also, in order to get into uni, from my memory, you just need to pass certain subjects and get certain points. But in Korea, that's different as well. So there's a lot of competition, and meaning there's a lot of pressure for students as well. So some students don't want to be the only one who fails. So there have been cases where students who have done really bad in the exam threatened to scream in the middle of the exam because they didn't want other students who are their friends to do well. So there are a lot of competition, so that you might be a friend with somebody, but that friend might not want you to succeed on your own. And also there have been another case where students often give each other like warm drinks, and like I said before, juniors from middle school and high school could give you a warm drink before you get into the exam to relax you and feel confident. But there have been a case where one student received the warm drink from another person who was giving it up from outside their school. So she received it and she just drank it, thinking that, oh, it's going to help me relax. Oh, what a great gesture. Then during the exam, she actually ended up vomiting and feeling really sick. And she found out later that drink contained a little bit of chemical and poison. So what happened was the person who gave her the drink was actually not the junior student, but she was a student from a year before, and she was sitting the exam as well, and she apparently failed the exam and did really bad, and so she wanted to jinx everybody else who might be sitting the exam in the future. So she actually went around school giving out drinks, and unfortunately this girl was the target, and she was impacted and she couldn't sit the test for a long time, so meaning that she missed out on going to uni that year. So it's very, very unfortunate case, and it's really sad to think that this is happening because there are a lot of competition. So because there are a lot of competition and a lot of people actually do feel mentally unstable as well. So there are a lot of cases of students committing suicide as well, which is really bad, I do admit, but because they want to do so well and they feel so nervous even before or after exam, so they ended up just ending their lives. But at the same time, people do believe in a lot of superstitions because, again, they really want to do well. So there are some things that students do to each other just to help them get into their desired university. And one of them is they are very bizarre and funny, and I don't know why people actually do believe in it, but I will actually share some of the stories with you. One of them is there is a belief that in Korea, that if you wear the underwear from the students from your desired university, when you're sitting the exam, you'll actually get into that university. So for example, if you go to somebody's house, and that person is going to Seoul National University, and you steal their underwear and wear it on the day, apparently you have a higher chance of getting into that uni. I don't think it ever worked for anybody, but you know, it's a funny belief. And secondly, a lot of those top universities have produce milk which has their brand name. For example, SNU has Seoul Milk, and also Konkuk University has Konkuk-Uyu, and etc. So if you drink that milk for 100 days before that exam, you actually get into that university as well. I think it's a really marketing strategy to sell more of their products, but it's really funny story and bizarre story as well. Another bizarre belief is that if you have a top student from a class, and if you steal that person's note, rip it into pieces, and you eat them, apparently you take all of their knowledge and intelligence and skill and confidence and etc. So you're pretty much stealing their luck and their future. So it's very funny. You'll probably get a stomach ache, so do not even try that yourself. But like that, people actually want to steal other people's luck and get into a top university. So a lot of competitions again. Another thing is, if you drop your pen on the floor on the day of the exam, then you have a bad luck. Because in Korea, dropping a pen is actually it's like falling. So the word that you use for dropping the pen is the same as falling. So it's kind of like failing your exam, failing to get into the university of your dreams. So on the day, everybody pretty much hold on to their pens, make sure it doesn't fall on to anything. So, and lastly, it's less bizarre and it's quite a good gesture in a way that a lot of mothers pray for their children. So they'll go to their like church or temples and etc. just to pray for their children, and they also buy chocolates and pins with the logo from the university. So a lot of university, again for marketing purposes, do produce chocolates and pins, and that actually has a good luck charm. So I remember when I was I actually went on exchange to Seoul National University for 1 year, and I remember my cousin asking me to buy him a pin with the SNU logo. So I asked him one day, why did you ask me to buy the pin? And he said, well, first reason is because I can actually brag about it to my friends, because apparently unless you have somebody who goes to the university, it's harder to buy the pen. And secondly, he said it will be a good luck charm for him. So whenever he gets tired of studying, or he get really fed up with studying, he will look at the pen and just remind himself why he's studying and refuel his desire to go to that university. So it's a really nice gesture. It's a really nice thing to do for each other if you buy chocolate. So chocolate is really colorful, and it actually has a logo in it on it as well. So it's a great gift to give it to each other. So I remember buying some of the chocolate and giving it to my friends as well. I can't believe why I didn't buy it for my friends. Why I bought it for my friends only and I didn't buy it for myself, because I could have had it in my wall somewhere and just remind myself again and again about my great time that I had in Korea. But it's a great gesture. It's good to have it. It actually tastes really good, and it's really pretty as well. So it's a really nice gift. So speaking of gift, there's a few other items that they give to each other. One of them is, so again, I say chocolate. It can be any kind of chocolate, or it can be chocolate made from the university. And you don't really have to go to the university to buy the chocolate anymore. They actually sell it in the supermarket. So you can see how popular these items are. And the second item is yot, which is a Korean traditional candy. And it's very sticky. And again, the verb for sticking to something is same as getting into uni. So you just like your teeth sticking to each other, you will stick or get into the university. And for that same reason, you can give each other Korean traditional rice cake, which is chapsaltong, and that is very, very sticky as well. So again, sticking to your teeth or the dog sticking to your teeth and tongue is exactly like you getting into the uni. These days, they have more of the contemporary gifts as well, and one of them is Turkish, anything made out of Turkish stone, because Turkish stone represent luck. And the last gift that I've seen is, it's called a worry doll, And what happened is you sit the doll down and you tell the doll all your worries, and the doll actually takes away your worries. So for example, you can tell the doll, oh my gosh, I hate math, I'm gonna fail math, I'm so worried about my math test, and you tell the doll that problem, and that doll actually takes all your worries away, and you won't be worried about math exam anymore, or a math exam for that year might be easier than any other years. So there are a lot of gift ideas. It's again great gesture, and you will see a lot of families gifting each other those gifts. So Korea puts a lot of importance in education and exam as well. So that will be very different from all you have seen in New Zealand. And again, it can have a really negative connotation to it. For example, Korea is known for like a lot of competitions and between students and really tough student life. But at the same time, you will have that much of knowledge about everything that you study. So it can have a bad side and good side as well. So maybe today, after hearing about the story and the exam, you feel a little bit better about studying in New Zealand. I don't know, or you might prefer the education system in Korea. And I bet if you're a high or college student here, your exam's coming up as well. So if that's the case, good luck, and hopefully all of the students in Korea and all the students in New Zealand, including you, do really well in the exam and get to study whatever you want next year. So hope you guys had a good time learning about Korea and education system, and hope you guys have a good time, and see you guys next time. Bye!